Hi, thank you for joining me, Wendy Anderson, justbe.me. So in this video, I wanted to talk about denial of truth. So when an individual is in denial of truth, it means they are in a fear state. So the denial of truth basically acknowledging the truth basically would mean for them a whole change in their whole experience, in their whole perceptions of how they live. So for example, if you've got a spouse that's been cheating on the other one and you go up to the spouse and say, I've seen your spouse cheating on you with somebody else, and then that other person goes, couldn't possibly, they love me too much. What that person is actually thinking is this: if I acknowledge this truth that my spouse is cheating on me, then this changes my whole life, this changes my whole experience. It means that I would have to change the where I live. It changes my financial aspects. It changes everything. It changes my whole life. So people would rather be in denial of the truth because they're in fear of it. So when somebody is in fear, they are vulnerable. And they are really frightened, and they are really scared, and all they want to do is hide under a blanket and perhaps actually witness the world from underneath it, from a tiny little crack. However, when we get frustrated with people that may not be seeing the truths the same as we are seeing them, and you rip the blanket off them, they will be like bunnies, startled bunnies in the headlights. They will be freeze, flight, fight response. So this is the responses that you are going to get back from these people if you try and rip the blanket off. You're going to get fight. So basically they'll fight with you, or you'll get flight. They'll not just want anything to do with you anymore, or you will get the freeze. So these are all the fear responses that you will get, ripping the blanket off to these people and trying to switch the light switch on when they're not ready. And it means that they will just freeze and they won't be able to move forward anymore. So one way what we can do is have compassion for them, not punish them, but basically forgive them if they do lash out to us. And rather than feeling angry towards people who don't share the same perspective and kind of see the truths the way we do, and rather than feeling angry, which is not going to serve you, it's just going to impact your liver and potentially other organs, to create joy in your life. So if you create in the joy in your life and you're focused on creating joy in your life, then you're not focusing on other people. So you're not going to get angry with other people. So it's a really good deflection tactic. Create joy in your life and focus on that. So create honour of this individual rather than fear. Honour that they are in a fear state, and they are in a vulnerable state. So who are we to punish that state? And we've all been here as well. So maybe see them as beautiful little markers for how far that we have travelled, because we've all been where they are. It's really difficult to be in the world as your true self at the moment as well, because there are a lot of people that are still in fear programs. So you are going to receive a little bit of resistance from people. So to honour other people that are not on the same wavelength as you at the moment. So whenever we kind of like call them, and we may call them sheeple or call them names and things like that, or getting angry with them, what you're actually doing is putting yourself in the darkened cave with them. If you do find yourself in this little darkened cave, then it's okay, just forgive yourself, switch your own light on, create your own joy in your own cave with your own light on, and basically what will happen will be that you will just light the whole cave for both of you, or for however else that you brought in that cave. You will light it up for all of them. So the trick is to create your own joy. So if you are reacting in like a resistance mode to them, just check in with your own fears that you may fear for them and their path. So it's just switch your own light on and take responsibility. What is it that I may be feeling? Am I feeling fear for this person? So, and also as well, I don't want to see this person anymore could be a little bit of a fear response as well. When you are a sovereign being and being who you intrinsically are, which is a being of love, which heals everything, so you know that you're always in your safety, no matter what you are in contact with or experiencing. So this other being cannot harm you. You are a created being. If you feel that this being does have an impact on your energy, then you be the creator and you create from a state that you want. So you just love yourself more. And you create maybe with intentions. You can put the intention that, you know what, when I go and see this person that may not have the same perspective as me, that when I am with them I am completely protected. I put the intention in it, which means that I'm loving myself and I am making the intention before I go see them. When I come away, then I also create intentions for myself that basically I am not being affected by this person. I love myself more. So then that allows you to be with any person from any perspective from any experience. You are the sovereign being. You are the one with the light on. So you be the light for the others as well in what you are creating yourself. So when we say they cannot change as well, that this person will always be in the dark, they'll never change as long as they've got a hole in the backside. When we are actually saying this as well, we are also putting ourselves back in the cave without the light on. Every single being on this planet has the capacity to shift, has the capacity to change, but they're still just holding on to the side of the river a little bit because they're fearful of swimming, because perhaps they may not know where the river is going to take them, or perhaps they're worried that there's going to be some rapids along the way, or there are lots of fears that everyone are going to hold at the moment. At some point or other they will have to let go of the side, even if that may mean a passing. So when a human passes, it's an opportunity for their spiritual birth. It's a beautiful thing. So when we incarnate, it's our spiritual death. So as infinite beings, this is our infinite journey that we are always experiencing. So there's nothing wrong with birth or death. It's just part of the journey. It's all love and creation. So in that saying, every single human being will have to change at some point. And when we incarnate in our next incarnation, we will definitely be more enlightened, because we will know some of our karmic paths, because all the karma deal is changing as well. So basically when we were incarnate before, we would be incarnate with the same families, the same karma, same shit, different life basically. All that is changing, all that has changed. So the recycling centre that was a little bit broken before, where we went after passing, it's not constructed in the same way. It's basically closed down, not there anymore. So when we come back in now, and we are seeing it with children already, that they already know who they were in past lives, they already know the karmic deal that they are already in, and they can choose to take a higher ground, or a higher consciousness and live outside of their karmic cycle, as we've all got the capacity and choice to do this. But when we reincarnate the next time, it is done, so to speak. So there is always capacity for change, and if not in this lifetime, it's definitely in the next lifetime. So we are all shifting, every single one of us, because when we pass over as well, we enter the spiritual birth and knowing that we are made from love, we are love, we heal everything, we are safe, we are sovereign. So basically there is no resistance around the shift or the change then. So then we can incarnate into another new dimension with another different programs in the all-knowing that we've got this. But we have to go through that journey of passing, perhaps some of us, to actually realise that. To access the recycling centre, we've always been able to access it. So the first part is healing, the second part is life review, the third part is universal library of knowledge. We've always been able to access it without dying through meditation, but now we can access it so much easier because there is no veil, and it is part of within our inner knowing, our inner self. But we just have to be a little bit quiet to access it. We have to be in the being of not doing, just in being, to actually access all of that beautiful stuff that is just there for us to use whenever we need it. It's always been there and it is still there. Easier to access these days. Because you don't literally have to meditate either to access it these days. It's kind of like just in there. So basically it's in there behind the door of intuition. So if the ego is closing the door on your intuition, then it makes it harder to open that door to your intuition of higher knowledge. It's all in there. If you have gone through abusive systems and everything else, and your ego is kind of like it's not kind of like as stringent as it once was anyway, then you'll recognise the inner voice, you'll recognise your intuition, and your intuition may be guiding you that your head may think, well, that's absolutely ludicrous and I haven't been educated that way, but yet your intuition is saying, yeah, no, you've not been educated in that, but the wisdom is saying something different. And this is a hard thing to grasp, to kind of follow your intuition, because it may be something that completely goes against what your education, what your head is saying. So it does get quite difficult. So the lack of acknowledgement to truth. So when people tell lies as well, so when people lie to an individual or to a population, basically there's fear programs behind the lies as well. So when you think about it, when we tell a lie, you know, if you're a teenager to your parents and you'll be going to a party, but you'll tell them, you know, oh, I'm having a sleepover at my mates. What you're actually doing is you're in a fear state of, my parents won't allow me to do what it is that I actually really want to do. So you'll tell little like lies about what you're actually doing and where you're going. None of us want to wake up and think, right, I'm going to be a liar today. Sometimes it can be a program, and people through fear, and if they've been in abusive relationships, to not get into trouble, it will just be like an automated response sometimes, that they will just lie and not even realise that they are consciously lying. So these are the reasons why people lie. Just watch how you are reacting to it, because basically you can, as a parent, and those of you in this situation will know, you'll have this suspicion or intuition or inner knowing that, do you know what, our so-and-so isn't staying over at so-and-so's, I wonder what they're up to, and you don't fully know what they're up to. So you know, your imagination could be running wild, as well as, you know, oh, these could be something that is, they could be up to something really, really bad, that is really, really harmful, when in actual fact they could be just going to a party. So again, the imagination, when we're being lied to, can run away with us as well. So it's just acknowledging that it may not be as harmful or as absolutely drastic as perhaps we once thought, that perhaps the agendas aren't as huge as our imagination may be making them out to be. Because let's face it, there is more of us than perhaps there's more of us than them. There's more of us as a collective. So, you know, there's the potentials of it. Once the truth comes out, it might not actually be as scary, because potentially it may only be a handful of people. It may be like the Wizard of Oz. It may be a small little wizard sat in a little cupboard behind a curtain, and when we actually pull back that curtain, then we'll actually realise it's not this kind of like big booming kind of like all scary force that we actually thought it once was. And we're probably just in future kind of like moments just kind of laugh at ourselves eventually in the future and go, do you remember when we were scared of this and we were scared of that, and you know, we were freaking out about this and freaking out about that. Perhaps there are some truths that they don't want to tell because they think we may freak out. So this is why people lie to individuals and populations. So I will just leave these thoughts with you, and for you to contemplate over, and I will also as well, if you're encountering violence in your experience, what is it mirroring from your internal? So if you are thinking, oh, I'm watching all this fighting going on and things like that, then just have a little bit of check-in with yourself. Is it because you are actually up for a scrap? So is there a little bit of inner warrior with you, within you, that maybe this is the time, it's all in the time of the shift, all in the time for change. Is it time to put the sword and the shield down? Do you actually need it anymore? So from a sovereign state and from a higher perspective, you are safe. So nothing, no one can harm you. So do you need the weaponry and the scrap anymore? So just to leave that in your contemplation as well, and just to create from a place of peace. And does it warrant the sword and shield anymore? Or it may do. So whatever your truth is, then honour your truth, and whatever your intuition is saying, whatever your role it is that you need to play, then you honour it. But just ask, is it from a place of love or is it from a place of fear? Also as well, if you're encountering violence in your external, so people that have fallen and they look like they've literally been beaten up, that's normally an indication on the exterior as to what is happening on the interior. That is the potential you are probably subconsciously beating yourself up over everything and every move, and the fall or the bruising around the exterior is just to let you have an inner a screen, basically a showing, a cinematic showing that this is actually what's going on in your interior. So be kind to yourself out there, love yourself, create consciously, create joy, not anger, be compassionate towards everybody's 7.5 billion different truths, and most importantly, honour yourself and your own truth even more. And perhaps maybe even look at yourself, am I lying to myself because I don't want to change? Big one at the moment as well. So just check out where there's truths and lies, and when you look at it in the light and reality, it may not be as scary as you once thought. All right, I'll leave my love with you. Take care everyone, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, bye.